Hello, you're about to hear Good Morning Seminole, our monthly signature event. Please enjoy.
We have three amazing experts that are going to share with us today, and it's going to be a little different from our normal flow of a program. So they're going to each come up and speak for 5-6 minutes, and then they will be sitting down at the panel. After we hear from all three of them, we will open it up to questions and discussion. So first, please join me in welcoming Michelle Morgan, meteorologist from News 6.
Well, good morning, Seminole. How are we doing today? Right. Well, I'm Michelle Morgan. I'm a meteorologist at News 6, and of course, as we all know, we are officially 1 month away from hurricane season. So there are a few things that, there's a few things that I do want to touch on here. So, as Floridians, and I wrote a script, so I'm going to stay between the 5 to 6 minutes here. So as many of us here, we are from Central Florida, and we all know too well how quickly things can change. The storm that we might think that may miss us can sometimes become the one that makes landfall. As the countdown continues, it is time to get ready, and it is important that we do so with as much information as possible. Now, although we're still waiting for the official hurricane season outlook from NOAA, which is expected in late May, Colorado State University has already released their early forecast, and here's what they're saying. They're expecting a slightly more active season than last year. I know, I feel the same way. Even with a busier than usual hurricane season, remember, it only takes one storm to impact us, so preparation is key. As of now, we're in what's known as ENSO neutral conditions. And if you don't know what that is El Nino oscillation, a southern oscillation. That means neither El Nino nor La Nina are affecting the Atlantic this year. And while we're all familiar with the effects of both of those conditions, ENSO neutral is important because it means we won't see the type of strong wind shear that often helps to weaken storms before they can strengthen. Ocean temperatures are also playing a role in the forecast. While Atlantic waters are indeed warm, they're not as warm as they were this time last year. I checked this morning. Warmer waters fuel storms, so this could result in some intense hurricane activity. With neutral conditions and those warm waters, it is safe to say we're looking at a season where hurricanes could form and strengthen more freely this year. I also want to discuss a different but equally important topic, severe weather. I'm sure many of you remember that on March 10th of this year, an EF2 tornado impacted Seminole County, specifically in the Longwood area. Peak winds were 120 miles per hour, and the tornado tracked about 4 miles, according to the National Weather Service. The damage was significant, and it serves as a stark reminder that severe weather can strike that fast. What's the biggest takeaway from these events? Preparation and awareness. Whether it's a hurricane, tornado, or severe thunderstorm, we all need to have a reliable way of receiving weather alerts. Your local stations, emergency management apps, and even government notifications can help ensure you're always updated. The ability to receive warnings promptly can make the difference between just being inconvenienced and being prepared for the worst. As we approach the hurricane season, we're also experiencing some significant drought conditions in Central Florida. I don't know about you, but my grass is dead. It's been a dry month for sure, and even though we got a little relief on Monday, it wasn't enough to alleviate the drought conditions. This is something we'll need to keep an eye on as we head towards the end of May, because the dry season in Central Florida typically wraps up at the end of May, just before hurricane season. Would you look at that? The rain we receive in the coming weeks will be crucial, not just for battling the drought, but also for replenishing water supplies in preparation for the season ahead. The lack of rain could affect everything from wildfire risk to the readiness of the ground to handle large amounts of rainfall in a short period of time, which is especially concerning if we see heavy rainfall associated with hurricanes. So, what does this all mean to us as we move closer to June 1st? Be prepared for an active season. While we don't know the exact number of storms, the forecast suggests that hurricane formation will be more likely this year. Have your hurricane kit ready? We tell you all the time. Know your evacuation routes, and make sure your home is protected. Severe weather can strike at any time, not just during hurricane season. Tornadoes, thunderstorms, and other extreme weather can affect us all. So staying alert and having access to weather alerts is critical. Drought conditions are worsening, unfortunately. Stay aware of your local water restrictions and be mindful, of fire risks. One storm is all it takes. Hurricane season doesn't care about forecasts. It only takes one storm to make this season to remember. And that storm could be heading straight for us. To wrap up, it's time to check those hurricane kits, make sure you've got your alert system set up, and get familiar with your evacuation plan. The time to prepare is now, because when it comes to hurricanes, the best time to act is always before the storm hits. Let's stay safe, let's stay informed, and get ready to face the 2025 hurricane season with confidence. Thank you.
Thank you. Part of your hurricane kit is insurance. Make sure you are insured. Guys, I'm just going to improv as I go, Please welcome Michael Kryger, owner and independent agent of Pegasus Insurance Agency, to see how he's planning for hurricane season.
Good morning, Seminole. Thanks for having me. I'm Mike Kryger, owner of Pegasus Insurance Agency, personal commercial lines independent agent in Longwood. Great topic today, and I'm going to hit some stuff that I hope makes you think. Do you know where your current homeowner's policy is? Is it in good standing order? Reason I mention this is between 21 and 23, we had 12 to 15 carriers go into receivership and bankruptcy. A lot of policy movement. At the same time, lots of refis going on, notes moving hands, a lot of policy movement. Created a lot of ruckus. As that started to calm down, so many policies that had gone to Citizens Insurance have been being depopulated or taken out, moving back to admitted carriers. That's good news. We have admitted carriers opening up capacity. We have new carriers coming into the state. So I've had a lot of really difficult conversations with prospects and folks that were jammed up that found out that a lender did not make a payment, a non-renewal was never addressed. You need to pay attention to that policy and make sure it's intact. So as we're 30 days out, I'd recommend go old school, get a folder, where I'm focusing on personal homeowners, we'll talk about other things, make a copy of that declarations page, 3-4 pages, has all the key coverages that you'll have to answer questions on. Policy number, carrier, claims contact phone number. Your agent is there to help you, but if there is a drastic hit and power's out, your agent might not be able to help you for a day or two. Get that claim called in there. Two things as far as coverages, not to get dulled, but on those homeowners policies, check your deductibles. There's a lot of things changing. You normally have your all other perils, AOP deductible. That's for unnamed storms, vandalism, theft, fire. And then you have your hurricane deductible, which is usually a little bit higher. Over these past couple years, these carriers have come up with new wrinkles where now there's a wind-hail deductible, where they're moving the unnamed storm out of all other perils into its own higher deductible. That can be very varied policy to policy. On business insurance, I'm not going to dig too deep on that. Sometimes policies have business interruption built in, make sure if you end up being down business for an extended period of time and you're losing revenue, make sure that element is on your policy to an adequate level. I talk about that because I come from claims and legal when I got my start in insurance. So I like to say I come from the dungeons, when all the bad things happen. So it's helped me in my current position. And when you're on approach to hurricane season, there's no easy way to work a claim. But if you've had your roof replaced in the last 5 years, you have a roofer, a contractor, a GC, even a restoration company, if you have reputable people that you trust, have them handy, because when things go down, you're going to want to have that access. I know that I've worked with a restoration company that has a very good consumer reputation, but also is approved by most every carrier in the state, and they are statewide. Their value proposition is that they'll come out and give you a free assessment or inspection. I'm not pitching anything. You can go whatever direction you want. Do you want to make the claim? Do you want to go a different direction? But usually get those first steps after you call that claim in, get things going. And remember, the credo for every insurance company is your duty to mitigate your damages. All right, so that's where the blue tarps come from. If there's damage, don't let it get worse, because that can come back to haunt you. Do the best that you can. And, the obvious stuff, I mean, we've come out of our cold Florida winter. You're doing your spring cleaning one weekend. I know Brockman's going fishing and doing things. Just take one weekend and clean the shrubs and get dead trees out. They're going to fall on a house. I know this is obvious, but that stuff that's loose becomes projectiles in high pressure and high winds. I've seen some pictures of stuff. Anyways, take a weekend to do that. And finally, I flood insurance. We were talking about FEMA and how things are going forward with this season, and maybe this season, an active season. Hopefully we skip a year. Doesn't sound like it. Flood insurance. So many folks did not carry flood. If you're in a flood zone, you have it. So you understand what it's all about. If you're not, most people don't have it. If you're not in a flood zone, you can typically get a private flood policy for a very affordable rate. You can even kind of scale it down a little bit just to have that peace of mind. In Ian, the 100-year storm 2 years ago, those conversations. I was directly a part of some things to see the disaster and lives ruined because of what took place with all that flooding. Folks that had never seen groundswell ever, that had lived here for so many years, saw flood, got close, or got flooded. So something to have a conversation about. That's a lot to cover. Very on top of it. I hope it makes you think about some things. I know I'll be here with the panel for some questions and afterwards, and anything you might want to delve into. I know there's a few out here that are promising some heckling questions, so I welcome it all. Anyways, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike. Now the superstar of Seminole County's emergency management. No? You can't run away. You already committed. Please welcome Alan Harris.
I don't know about superstar, but thank you. It was funny, I was at a national emergency management conference and I talked about our cold weather plan, and they all laughed at me because it's, Chris knows, it was 40 degrees for 4 or more hours, right? And we activated our cold weather sheltering with the Rescue Outreach Mission, which is one of our wonderful partners. So very different in Maine. I think it's okay. So I know we're going to talk a little bit about hurricane season, of course, today, but I want you to know, of course, emergency management looks at all risks and hazards that can happen in the county. So as Michelle mentioned, we are in a burn ban right now because of severe drought. So wildfire threat is certainly on our mind, and we are working on that. In certain areas, we have toxic blue-green algae, Lake Jessup, the Econ River, so that's something that we're responding to as well. We talked about raccoons, ironically bats. We have had this rash of children playing with bats. It's bat season too. And unfortunately, those bats have tested positive. One of the divisions that I oversee is Animal Services, so we work closely with the Florida Department of Health. So if you have children, please encourage them. If they find a bat, do not play with it. And I know that should be logical, but that doesn't appear to be logical right now, so we're just not showing up. So here's all the hazards that we have pre-identified, and when I say we, the team of emergency management, that includes Sheriff's Office, Fire Rescue, Environmental Services, all the folks that staff the Emergency Operations Center, our power providers, water providers. When you look at the list, we've experienced just about every single one of them. Thankfully, we haven't had number 18, the structural integrity. Of course, Miami-Dade did have that experience. And we also have not had a direct earthquake, but we certainly have had a response to earthquake situations. So that's not going forward. So if you could, I'll just have you move forward if I could. There we go. So these are a lot of our Emergency Operations Center activations. This is actually the first flight coming in from Port-au-Prince, Haiti, after the earthquake there. We had 10,000 individuals that came through the Orlando Sanford International Airport and over 200 orphans after that earthquake. So while we don't have direct earthquake events here, we sometimes will respond to the aftermath of an earthquake. Next slide. We are doing a lot of planning. So whenever there's not a hurricane, just like the military, when there's not a war, what do? Plan, train, and exercise. So we're constantly planning, we're constantly training, and we're constantly exercising. Just a few weeks ago, we had the largest mass casualty exercise in the state of Florida, thousands of volunteers, every hospital system in the Central Florida area, a drone attack on multiple special events, one here in Seminole County, one in Orange County, one in Osceola County, complex coordinated attack. And why do we do those types of things? Because we want to be more efficient in the, hopefully never will happen, but we want to be more efficient when those types of things happen. And of course, right now, we're preparing, of course, for hurricane season, lots of planning, lots of training, and lots of exercising. We've been doing a lot of mitigation and a lot of resiliency, so a lot of projects, including river cleanup, to make sure that the water is flowing much better. Through the hurricanes, of course, trees get down into the waterways, which clog up the waterways, which prevent the water from going down, which exasperate the flooding situations. So we want to fix those types of things, improving our stormwater systems. In some cases, acquisition and demolition of homes that are repetitively lost over and over again, so continue to sustain damage over and over again. Of course, that raises insurance costs, right? And some insurance companies, unfortunately, move out of the state of Florida, and we'd want to prevent that from happening, so we are in the process of doing that, as well as elevating some homes. We're still working on recovery on a number of different fronts. Believe it or not, we still have families that are in hotels from Hurricane Milton. That is because of supply chain issues, funding, things like that. So we still have a lot of people out there in need from Hurricane Milton. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, though, right? Just about every meeting that I have been in, and I'll be here for a little bit afterwards if you have any questions, but everybody wants to know one thing, and that is, what are we going to do if FEMA doesn't show up? Or what is happening with FEMA, or what's going, there's talk. So what do we know about FEMA? What we do know is FEMA is going to change. FEMA has already changed. So we know for a fact that some of our mitigation grants are gone. The pre-disaster mitigation grant is gone. It's going to be restructured. We don't know how that's going to be looked at restructured-wise. It looks like response and recovery will be pushed down more to the state and local level instead of the federal level. We see this. We see some, and this is very interesting, we see some cases where FEMA may not declare a disaster a federal disaster, which means federal funds do not come into the area. We just saw that in Arkansas after the 14 tornadoes. We just saw that in Kentucky and in West Virginia after the floods, and we just saw that in Washington, the state of Washington, after the bomb cyclone. So if you do not get a direct hit, there's the potential that FEMA's not coming. So we have to be prepared for that. That's my job in emergency management. So we are preparing at the state and the local level for what it looks like if FEMA doesn't show up, to make sure that we have the contracts that FEMA used to have, now we have them. That we can go and get all the services that they used to come in and provide us. We have to be 100% resilient here in the state of Florida and in Seminole County, and we're doing that right now. Little facts, right? Little wobbles matter. Don't look at that little black line, all right? So sometimes those little wobbles are great. Hurricane Dorian and Hurricane Matthew made that little wobble, woo. Hurricane Charlie, not so much, right? So does anyone know, a little bit of trivia, does anyone know when Seminole County was last hit by a hurricane with hurricane sustained force winds in the county? Hurricane Charlie, someone said. So Hurricane Charlie was the last true hurricane in Seminole County. Hurricane sustained force winds. No hurricane, no tropical event will be called tropical just a, right? So just a tropical storm can cause lots of problems. This is Tropical Storm Faye, never a hurricane. Historic flooding until Ian beat it, but historic flooding in Seminole County, and it was a tropical storm. So tropical storms can cause lots of damage. Every storm is different. And we learned that how many people were here in 2004? All right, a lot of people. So you remember in Hurricane Charlie, we went to bed, there was a hurricane, we woke up and it was a beautiful sunny day. And in Hurricane Francis, 3 days later, we were like, please, will you leave us? Right? So each storm is vastly different. Hurricane Ian, 26 inches of rain. I know that's not the official National Weather Service, but our rain gauge at the Winter Springs Fire Station, which is, I'm going to count that as the real thing, 26 inches of rain. Where do you put 26 inches of rain? Well, you don't put it anywhere. And that's why communities got flooded. Even a hurricane that doesn't have hurricane sustained force winds in the county, there will be power out. This is a map of Hurricane Irma. 75% of the population in Seminole County lost power for that hurricane. And I see some people nodding their heads. They must have lost the power that day. Oh, yeah, okay. Yep. And it's going to take a little while. It's going to take a little while for the power to be restored. Debris is going to be an issue. It's going to be an issue. If you can do something for me, I'm going to do it with you. If you could close your eyes. And I want you to picture 1 million cubic yards of debris. Of course you can't. I can't do that. So we got to talk in language that other people understand. So everybody's been to Epcot or at least seen it, right, in the Central Florida area? It's 11 spaceship Earths. That's how much debris we had to pick up. 11 spaceship Earths. So what I need is your help. Even though we have videos and tutorials and flyers and brochures and everything that says, please separate your debris. Please don't put it on top of a fire hydrant. Your neighbors continue to do it. And when they do it, that means our debris hauler has to stop, sort the debris, so they don't pick up the fire hydrant, right? It happens all the time. I have pictures after pictures after pictures of people just stacking it on the fire hydrant. I don't understand. So please, as you're helping to do the right thing and sort your debris, to expedite your neighbor's debris getting picked up and the person down the street and the person in the next neighborhood. If you see someone doing it wrong, if you can encourage them as well, we'd appreciate it. Emergency sheltering is going to be an issue. We have a housing crisis, we know that. We have lots of folks that are precariously housed. So we're going to be closing schools. A lot of times people will ask us, well, why are you closing schools so early? Because schools don't have medical cots in there. We have a lot of advances in medicine now. That means people are going home with vents and trachs and things like that. Well, the schools aren't equipped to take those types of patients. So we have to bring in equipment, power. We have to bring in medical supplies and beds and things like that. So it takes a little while to do that. So it will be a beautiful sunny day and your kids will be out of school. So please help me help them understand, your employees, your friends, your neighbors, that it's a beautiful sunny day because they're in the school working hard to be able to open the shelter to get people to the shelter before the tropical storm force winds hit. There will be unmet needs this year. There were always unmet needs. So if you belong to a volunteer organization, a faith-based organization, and you're interested in helping during this year's hurricane season, please affiliate with us. There's some flyers out on the table here. We have a Hurricane Action Day coming up, where we're going to teach people about chainsaw safety and how to do debris collection and how to help people with case management and how to tarp a roof appropriately and things like that. So please consider that if you belong to a faith or nonprofit organization that's interested in that. I'm over, so I'm just going to go to the next one. We mentioned this already, but please get a kit together. Don't buy all your supplies at once. Over time, you can get a nice disaster kit by buying just a couple extra items. Stay informed. We have Alert Seminole. Hopefully everybody's registered for Alert Seminole. We talked about insurance. And get involved with the volunteers. Thank you.
If you've never used a chainsaw, don't do it the day after a hurricane. All right, we have time for just a few questions. Aaron will come around with the microphone. You just want to raise your hand, and we're going to keep them short.
So I just wanted to bring up a couple things, because this is a business room. Make sure you order supplies before the storm. Have extra things like cards and things like that for computers. Backups. Make sure you have local backups. Make sure you have online backups with different passwords. We have clients that we had 6 online backups running. Don't run those backups the day before the hurricane. Do it like, several days before because it takes a long time. And for UPSs, there's one called EcoFlow that will actually charge via solar. Now, I do have a question, actually. When you see all the linemen come into town, who actually pays for that? It's heartwarming that you see everybody coming in from out of state, but who pays for that? Is it FEMA or them?
It's on? Okay. So is there anyone here first from Florida Power and Light or Duke? Because I preferred the expert to it. So we meet with Florida Power and Light and Duke prior to every hurricane season. We just met with Duke actually on Tuesday, met with FPL a couple weeks ago. We go over our critical infrastructure list to make sure that our hospitals come back on, my house comes back on, just kidding. So my hospitals come back on. My house is normally one of the last, actually, but and 911 centers and things like that. So there's a whole system for how they do that. There's a partnership, a mutual aid agreement, very similar to government, where they bring in those organizations to help each other. So Georgia Power may come down and help Duke Energy restore the power. It helps the company because they, of course, charge you when you use power. So this is all mutual aid agreements that they have in place.
I've got a neighbor that's got a beautiful oak tree. It's huge. Most of it covers my roof and my house. If that should fall down, and I sweat it every year, if it should come down to my house and ruin my house, whose fault is that? I'll blame it on Kryger, but that's okay.
Well, I don't know the logistics of it, but my parents' neighbor had a huge, beautiful oak tree in their yard, and it fell on my parents' house, and it was my parents' issue. Yeah. So their insurance had to take care of it. And this was back in 2004, so I don't know.
Ed, that's just leading to arbitration. But
Now, there is a bill.
both carriers will probably be involved.
There is a bill in Tallahassee. I don't know where it is currently, and I don't know if it will make it through. But if it does make it through, you're familiar with the bill, that if the tree goes down, that it's the responsibility of the tree owner. So I don't know where that bill is and if it's going to be passed, and you probably won't know until the session ends. But there is a bill right now going through Tallahassee that would be the rule.
We do have a law firm that sponsors this event. We have time for 2 quick questions now.
Okay, night fan stand, printing. After this meeting this weekend, I'm definitely going out and buying a generator.
Yeah.
So discuss the importance of a generator and how it's used, and do you know anything about the wattage, whether it should be 5,000 watts or more, or any different brands? Because more and more I see my neighbors buying generators over the last 10 years, and it really comes in handy. So
it really depends on what you want to do. I have a very small generator. My generator powers my refrigerator. It powers a window unit because I want one room cool, my bedroom. And we all come in the bedroom, and it's like a sleepover. So, and sometimes I'm not even there, sometimes at the EOC, but at least the family's taken care of, and that's what's important.
All right, so there's been a lot of cuts to National Weather Service and NOAA. How are those going to impact the forecasting of hurricanes coming this season? Michelle?
That's a fantastic question. I was actually waiting for someone to ask that. It's very unfortunate, and it's very heartbreaking to see a lot of the National Weather Service folks and NOAA folks being let go, but it is going to impact hurricane forecasting immensely because we have weather balloons that go up twice a day. Of course, if we are expecting a hurricane more than that, we have folks that are flying into the storm. So when you're taking away these meteorologists, also research meteorologists that are in charge of the modeling data, that affects us as broadcast meteorologists because we're letting everybody know what is happening based on the data that the other meteorologists are getting. So with all of the cuts, we are going to see some impacts for sure. Absolutely.
Great questions. A few things I'd like to leave you guys with to think about. When there is an emergency and you are watching the news nonstop, those meteorologists don't get to go home to be with their families. When the schools start closing and shelters start opening, the EOC has dozens of people that many times you're sitting in this room with that are gone from their families for 5, 6, sometimes 2 weeks before they're able to go home. So there's people working in the background, so be kind, please, especially when they are gone for a really long time and they can't talk to their families because they give up a lot to take care of us. So we thank you for that. And then don't yell at your insurance agent afterwards because you didn't buy the policy. I had to include you, Mike. Thank you all for being here today. Thank you so much to our speakers. We have quite a few announcements and then a door prize, so don't run away. If you are not a member yet, please see John, Pam, or Sue, and they can help answer all your questions. And if you join before you leave today, they will credit your ticket price. Our next business after hours is next week at Eggs Up Grill in Apopka, where we will toast to your success. There are mimosas, so come on out. Our legislative update, now I'm going to preface this with, we know, you guys watch the news. Right now it's May 22nd. It should be very interesting. We know there's probably a special session, so keep an eye on our emails. If we hear anything from Tallahassee that impacts that date, we will let you know right away. Please don't forget to register for events. Thank you to our sponsors, AdventHealth, Verizon, NextHorizon, the Orlando Law Group, Seminole Business and Storage, Allen Byrd & Associates, JPMorganChase, WastePro, Genske Co Accounting, and Addition Financial. Thank you to Levon's Catering for providing breakfast and coffee. Thank you to the Lake Mary Events Center.
Thanks for listening. To learn more about the Seminole County Chamber, please visit seminolebusiness.org or check us out on our social media at Seminole County Chamber.